everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are staying safe and sane during quarantine. I've been trying to keep busy but sort of failing 70% of the time, but we're here. We've made it. This week's video I'm gonna take you through a very special quarantine edition shoot and the behind the scenes of it as well. As you all know, we're not allowed to leave the house. There's no gigs, there's no concerts, you can't really meet up with people. I haven't had anyone to shoot for the past, I don't know, like couple months. So we had to get a bit creative. First of all, if you're new to my channel, my name is Andrea and I'm a music photographer living in London, and I do videos mostly about that. It's sort of like a visual diary about my work. So as you can probably imagine, I haven't been able to work the way that I usually do, so I've had to adapt to quarantine. And also, if you're new, every month I release a small like little collectible print. And for the first month in quarantine, April, I wanted to do a quarantine theme shoot. So the only venue I've been able to go to this month has been the living room, and the only rock star I had access to has been the Toots. Not sure if you can see it very well. I'll do some close-up shots of it. But basically, this is my roommate. One of my roommates. This is Tootsie, my flatmate's cat. And she was the only muse, the only model, the only musician I had available. So this is what the collectible print is of this month. Live from the living room. Best concert I've been to in weeks. And yeah, that's Toots. I'm kind of gonna take you through that whole shoot. And by the time this video is up, the print has been released on my Instagram, as I usually do. And this time I also wanted to do something a little bit special with the release. Originally, I wasn't even gonna release a print for this month because I felt a bit out of place or weird to ask for anything or put anything for sale when people are all struggling. I just didn't really want to be insensitive. But I also wanted to motivate myself and create something, because it's been hard to find ways to create when you're not really allowed to be in the places you usually have to be to create your work. In my case, concerts, like music venues and stuff. So I just wanted to kind of challenge myself to work with what I had and have fun with the process. And even if the only thing that comes out of it is like the little joke that I try to make with Tootsie, that's fine. But also, in addition to that, I also wanted to donate 20% of the profits of the sale of this print to an animal charity, and I'm gonna do that as soon as this video goes live. Because also I've heard that I need to sneeze, wait. So I've seen that some big cats have been tested positive for this strain of the virus. And from what I've seen, I don't think it affects them as much as it affects us. I think they should be fine, but I have a sneaking suspicion that if this gets more attention, that people might surrender the cats to shelters or something. Let's hope not. But if they do, I'm sure the shelters are already struggling to keep up with their volunteers or employees. I'm sure it's not been easy, and I just want to give a small help where I can. And if you want, you can also help, as 20% is going to be given to a charity. I'll announce the charity that I pick on my Instagram if you want to follow me there, so you know what's going on. So I've actually filmed this video before. I was going to include it at the end of last week's video, but the video was so long already, and I think the narrative of it would be very confusing because there was so much going on in the other video. I mean, so much going on. It was just a bit like all over the place already, so I wanted to make a separate video. But I don't have the package prints anymore because I've mailed them, because people have already ordered them when I released them on Instagram. So I'll include some clips of that video, even though it was filmed on a different day and I look a bit different. No. You sneaky lady. We're such big fans. We're such big fans. Can I have an autograph? Can I come backstage? Can I come backstage? I have all your albums. I have all of them. All of them. I have all the merch. I have all the merch, please.
Let me in! Put me on your guest list!
So you might be asking, how did this shoot go? How easy was it? How hard was it? Well, Tootsie was a bit of a diva. At the beginning we had to bribe her quite a lot with a little cat paste that she takes for her little stomach, and at first she didn't really want to stay put. She would just like walk around. I think she could tell that something was up. So at first we put a little cushion for her to sit on, so she would have a place to like be put. Very different working with animals than it is with humans, because you kind of have to manipulate the environment a little bit so that they're comfortable in the spot that you want them to be. So we put this little pillow cushion so that she knew where she could kind of be and be comfortable, and so we can angle the camera and work around it. And then we added our gramophone, which actually came with this flat. It was here when we moved in. And it's been a great prop, and it works. We need to get a new needle for it, but it works. Because I just wanted to add something with a musical theme to the shoot, because all my prints and the collectible print project are taken in that sort of context. They are, you know, musicians, either photographed either on stage or just as a portrait somewhere else, but there's always that link of music. So I wanted to bring some sort of theme into it. And we brought the gramophone. And here she is screaming her lyrics to her fans in the front row, aka me and my flatmate. And yeah. And I think this final shot was one of the first shots we got. Although Tootsie calmed down and we were able to get even like more shots of her, I think the adrenaline of trying to get a shot at the beginning when I thought I wouldn't be able to kind of forced me to like really concentrate and push forward and get a shot that was good enough to be a print. So this was like maybe what, the 5th shot out of, I don't know, 40 shots that I took. So there goes pressure and adrenaline. I think that's how I work best when I'm photographing, apparently, because that's very much how it is when you're at a concert. There's so much adrenaline when you're around that many people trying to get a good shot and a good angle and capturing a good moment, that pressure that makes you work that much harder. Not that I'm not trying to be too dramatic, because this shoot was like pretty chill. Obviously we were in our living room with a cat, but the principle was similar. The mindset that I was going through was similar. So yeah, I'm just trying to like give you as much background or like inside information on the shoot, because I don't know why I think that's what I should be doing, but anyway, so I wasn't sure if the print was gonna do very well, because obviously it's very different to my other prints, but she did pretty well, and I think people liked a little joke or whatever. I think they can sympathize with like the fact that we all have to adapt and think creatively and think of humorous ways to get by and stuff. And obviously I think some people would probably appreciate the fact that they could help a little bit with a charity as well. So I was very happy, and I packaged them all up. And yes, I do use dresses and shirts and pants as backdrops when I'm shooting the product photos of the prints, and I also use my bathroom floor as a backdrop, which you would know if you watch my previous video or like a few of my other videos. That was one of the things that I was really sad about moving here, because on my previous place I had a huge like kitchen tiled black and white classic kitchen floor that I actually shot quite a few people there lying down. But when I came here, our kitchen didn't have that floor, but our bathroom does. So it's a smaller space, but I think I might be able to adapt and maybe shoot one person at a time at it. So I was trialing the backdrop a few days ago when I was shooting little clips of the prints for Instagram or just taking photos of the prints themselves and of the packaging and everything. Again, ideas that you can use if you're stuck at home and you don't have your backdrop with you, you don't really have what you usually do. Have a look around your house and look for any interesting wall you may have, any interesting textures on the floor or like on your bed that you can use as backdrop. I don't know. There's always things that you can try, and I hope that this can give any of you that are struggling a bit, any of you artists that also kind of have had to adapt to the rhythm of quarantine and to the limitations of quarantine, an idea or inspiration to reimagine your situation a little bit and see what you have around you that you never thought about before, and that can actually be used as a sort of substitution for something you don't have right now. So for example, I substituted some people for a cat. And that might not actually work in every situation, but there are the things that you can do. And I hope that you guys can remain creative, but also there's no pressure to remain creative, because it's kind of hard to not get all in your head when all of this is going on, and it's hard to be productive, and that's fine. Like, most of the days I'm not really productive. It's quite rare that I'm able to get dressed and sit in front of the camera and try to think of what to say and be productive and edit and take photos and stuff. It's not easy, but if you guys are missing it and you are feeling like you can push yourself a little bit, I encourage you to do so, because it made me feel way better. It made me feel connected. It made me feel so happy to be able to help a charity as well. So don't give up, guys. Try to find a way to do what you want to do. And I wanted to say thank you for everyone that has purchased a print already. That means so much, especially in times like these when everything feels so uncertain for everyone. I really appreciate your help and everything, and thank you so much to Toots for being such a good sport and being so cute and such a good model. And yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoy seeing this behind the scenes of the shoot and how you can make things work, and see the final product as well, so you can kind of bridge that beginning process or the shooting process with like the final image. I hope that's interesting to you guys. I personally like seeing stuff like that, so I hope you guys do too. And let me know what you thought of the video, of the print. I'll link it down below if any of you want to get one. And yeah, follow me on Instagram if you want. That's usually where my pictures go on first, because these videos take me a very long time to edit. And subscribe for more if you want, and give the video a like if you liked it, blah 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 blah. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.